My best experience was probably with Alexander McQueen, just because of the way they're so meticulous with every little detail that goes into the jacket. I think there was a jacket that we did that had about like 500 pieces in it, and that took weeks to test and then redo until they got it right. I'd say my experience of working at Kanye West, although you're a little starstruck, because it was literally in the studio, like going over lyrics and whatnot. But then obviously you have to focus on the work, but I felt that I didn't learn as much at Kanye West as I did with the McQueens or working at Ralph and Russo, where they make, I don't know, £70,000 dresses. My name is Emile Vidal Carr, and I'm a luxury fashion director, and this is my Diligence Session.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Afternoon. For those of you that don't know, this is Emile. We are in his lab. We'll call it your lab, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, for those that don't know you, if you could just introduce yourself, let them know who you are, what it is you do.
Cool. Okay. So my name is Emile Vidal Carr. I prefer to call myself a fashion director as opposed to a fashion designer, because what I do is, I guess, multifaceted. I've been in the business for 20 years. Mum was a dressmaker, did my degree, then I ended up starting up my own business that managed to get quite large contracts with Topshop, ASOS and Alders. And then moved on to getting a role at Alexander McQueen, then Kanye West, then Victoria Beckham, and a number of other names. And then I just got this place about 11 years ago, decided to build my own factory, and yeah, business has been pretty good.
Yeah. And how early would you say you discovered your love for fashion?
I discovered my love for fashion later than I probably should have, considering my mum was a dressmaker. I was probably about 18, 17 years old, where I just got bored of doing music and art, graphics and whatnot, because I've always been creative. And the kind of business side of me kind of questioned myself, like, what can I still do to make money and be creative?
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to move out of mum and dad's house to start uni. And just through random series of events, I just asked mum to show me what she was doing, and I just fell in love with the process just from there on. And I'm a very intense person.
Okay.
I really like something, or just like, it's a big no-no. And that love I've maintained it since then.
Okay.
So at what point do you know that you want to do this?
I think it was pretty much within like the first few hours of mum teaching me how to sew, and then just making that first garment. There was something quite therapeutic and comforting about making a garment, and there just not been any limits to what you can create. I wasn't very good at sewing, obviously, when I started, but it was fun, and I kind of thought, yeah, I can take this somewhere.
Yeah, practice.
Yeah, it was a lot of practice. I had a good friend of mine that he sat down with me for 2 years solid, like every day, and he taught me this really kind of minor thing that I was able to just build up and then really kind of build my expertise.
Yeah, because even the days long before YouTube where you could pretty jump online and get tips.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like, yeah, there wasn't no YouTube.
Yeah, so you have to tap up with experienced people to get inside. Yeah.
Naturally.
Do you remember your first piece? Your first ever piece?
Yeah, it was this like denim kind of shirt and I think like skirt thing that I made for this this model, and probably in the bin now. But,
Like, how
yeah,
do you,
it was made really badly actually.
why?
It looked good.
Yeah, but it's very bad.
Very terribly. I don't think I was sewn properly until I was probably 5 years in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it takes you a long time to know how to sew like properly, to make it to shop level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because I was doing it every day, because like when you buy clothes, right, you inspect all the finishing, and to achieve those different finishes requires different machines, and different needles, different threads, different pressing techniques.
True.
So you have to go through all those different stages to then say, this is perfect, this is worth. Even if it's something like £50 now, it's still made well because it's gone through a process.
Yeah.
So would you say having your mum's history, would you say that worked majorly in your favour? Because I find like a lot of people, when it comes to trying to emulate their parents, their parents aren't usually fans of them necessarily doing that because they feel like they want them to do something else. So would you say that worked in your favour?
Yes and no. Like in the African culture, being a tailor is not respected in any way.
Okay.
Because it's like you go to tailor for a party, and then the most you're spending with a tailor in those days is probably £30-40. So I guess my parents probably did the calculations already. How on earth are you going to make a serious living doing this?
Yeah.
I kind of, as you do, you kind of see ahead, and whether or not you can fulfill the dream, you kind of see the direction that you want to take things in. And then my dad's a trained barrister, so he studied law. So he probably wanted me to do that, and that was never going to be me because I was never academic in that respect. So I guess it helped having mum's backing, but then when I got to uni, I was quite arrogant because I started off uni having all this knowledge, and I was just kind of waiting for the lecturer to show me more than I already know, and that didn't happen. So it just tainted my experience of uni.
Okay.
Okay, so you mentioned that you worked with a few brands. What was it like working with some of those brands? So for example, what was it like working with Kanye?
I guess with my best experience was probably with Alexander McQueen. Just because of the way they're so meticulous with every little detail that goes into the jacket. I think there was a jacket that we did that had about like 500 pieces in it, and that took weeks to test and then redo until they got it right. I'd say my experience of working at Kanye West, although you're a little starstruck, because it was literally in the studio, like going over lyrics and whatnot. But then obviously you have to focus on the work, but I felt that I didn't learn as much at Kanye West as I did with the McQueens or working at Ralph & Russo, where they make, I don't know, £70,000 dresses. And I've always been about the technical side of fashion as opposed to the kind of glamour side.
Okay, so basically like more of a challenge.
Yeah.
When it comes to fashion.
Yeah. Because I mean, when I started out in fashion, I had friends that were doing t-shirt brands, that they wanted to do t-shirt prints and so forth. And they kind of proposed that we go into it together. But because I wanted to know how the garment was made, not do a t-shirt print, it couldn't work.
You want to be more in depth into the fabric more than just the outside of it.
Yeah. And I think that's probably, it's worked out as a disadvantage in some ways because I could have probably been further in my career if I'd taken some shortcuts and then embraced the whole celebrity lifestyle.
You think?
Yeah, certainly, because there's a certain aspects of our business that's quite superficial, and that's where the celebrity comes in.
Yeah.
If you look at my kind of back catalog, there's not many celebrities in my stuff. Had I gone down that route, PR-wise, I'd have gone clearer than I have already,
Yeah.
because I've kind of taken those 20 years to really, even buying the machines, learning how to use each of the machines. I've got machines that there's no other factories in the UK that have these machines. So I'm able to take on work for other designers that pays well to supplement my income. So I guess it's a boring route that I've gone down, but it's, for me, a more stable route to grow.
So is that more of a conscious decision to stick to the more stable route, or do you feel that's something that just happened?
It happened through, because I had a high street brand that was doing well with Topshop and whatnot. And after, like, me and my business partner went our different ways, I kind of changed my way of thinking.
Okay.
And maybe playing it a bit safe, but still wanted to remain in the industry.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea of building the factory came in. Just so that I can say that I have my factory, which is not the same. I guess with the music business, having a music studio is more possible than someone getting their own creative factory in the fashion business. So I felt that was more of a challenge that I wanted to go down into.
Yeah. So was there a point at which, because obviously touching on obviously the African, don't know what the word would be, that ideology of what a good career is. Was there a point where you said, I'm doing the right thing now? Because surely you must have had your doubts with your parents saying, go for the more like law, stuff like that. Was there a point where you said, I know I'm doing the right thing now?
I knew I was doing the right thing from day dot.
Really? That's brilliant.
I probably, I'm kind of rebellious in the sense where, because my dad didn't want me to do it, I would be more likely to have done it and prove to him that I can do this without your help. Not in a disrespectful way, but just in a father and son way, that you have to, because like I couldn't build this business at home, having women come to my house for dress fittings. That was never going to happen in my dad's house.
Okay.
So I had to take it out of their household to kind of find my feet. So I've always been quite sure of my decisions relatively quickly.
Is that something, quite a personal question, but is that something your father ever acknowledged, like, I didn't see it going like this, you've done well, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or is it one of them silent?
No. What it was, there was an article that I did that I had in the Voice. I'm not sure if it's even still going, the Voice newspaper. And my dad showed that off to all his friends. And this was like a year after I told him I wanted to do fashion. And that's when I got his cosign.
Yeah. And how did that feel?
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get his appreciation. As much as one can say that they're independent, getting my dad's approval on it meant a lot.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have changed my mind, but it meant a lot that he was able to show off to his friends that this is what his son's doing and
I guess
so
that's
forth.
just a bit of more motivation to keep going.
Oddly, no. The motivation came from elsewhere. It was just, it meant that we could, it changed our conversations, I think, after that point.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the how's mum's with it?
Yeah, mum's always been like quietly supportive. The thing is, when I moved out of home, in our culture, I moved out way too young.
Yeah.
So there was a fear that, Emile's moved out, what is he going to get himself up to and whatnot. So there was more fear around that. Mum, I think she just defaulted to what my dad wanted, what my dad said.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was always supportive anyway. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. I wanted to touch on the brand a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's starting his own brand, but he's obviously, like you're saying, there's the print side and there's the actual design side.
Yeah.
He's more the design side as well. And I sat down with him and he sort of explained to me his vision.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise how in depth and how strategic it is.
Yeah.
So how would you describe what your vision was at the beginning for your brand?
Well, if we're talking about the Emile when I was 18, it was kind of just to be around pretty women. I mean, I worked in a hairdressers for like a couple of years actually, which which is an odd route to take, but it was about understanding how women get ready, how they prepare their looks, what looks they're gonna take to which event. So working around women professionally and women as customers, that step helped my vision, because being a straight male, you're always approaching things from a second-hand point of view. You'll never really understand a woman because you're not. The Emile in his later 20s, early 30s, the strategy came from learning from my wife.
Okay.
Like I always say this, that when we met, the kind of stuff I was designing, she said she wouldn't be seen dead in. And I knew that if she was ever going to wear one of my pieces, I just needed to change what I was doing. So
Okay.
I literally did that, and over a period of years, she eventually, I used her as a muse for the brand, even to this day.
Wow.
And yeah, the strategy is based around her and her circle of friends, professional women, black, white, just purely aspirational. And then over time, I've increased the price point because I guess I see my work as art, not kind of, it's the kind of stuff that you won't go to an event and you see someone else arrive in.
Yeah.
Because it's
It's rare pieces.
yeah, it's a rare piece. I guess our kind of way we position ourselves is equivalent to the Victoria Beckhams and the Roland Murrays, where I have worked. So I have an understanding of that kind of sector of fashion. So that's where I'm trying to position myself as a, I guess, black designer.
And I guess most of your pieces are one-of-ones, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we have stuff that we put into like small scale production, but the most recent collection, that's definitely been one-offs.
Yeah. So you're into the fashion world, you know about the fashion. You know, you'll probably go through social media and you've probably seen people wear stuff. Is there a brand out there that you are most catch your eyes, that you're impressed with?
What, a fashion brand?
Fashion-wise.
I mean, apart from Victor and Rolf and Alexander McQueen, they've just always been two personal favourites of mine that I take inspiration from. And if 10 years time I can be like Burberry, then that would be ideal.
So what do you think about the fashion now to the fashion from when you started? Have they improved, or do you think it's going downhill?
I'm never really one to criticise anyone else's kind of hustle or creativity. I think there's, like I have a lot of clients that are startups and they'll come to me for advice. And one of the things I say to them in the first couple of minutes is that I'll never say that your design is good or bad.
Yeah.
Because my opinion in that aspect is irrelevant.
Subjective,
Having gone through like fashion school, you get critiqued by lecturers. I know they might have woken up on the wrong side of bed that morning and they'll tell you that your work is rubbish, which has happened to me. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So I guess to answer your question, neither good or bad. I think there's been a development in terms of sustainability, which has been good. I know it's a bit of a kind of buzzword that probably people are sick of, but manufacturing within the UK has increased, which has been good for UK jobs. And when stuff is made in the UK, psychologically there's something in the customer's mind that it's made better, and generally it is. As far as the creative side, I don't think I'll see any change really. I think in most cases, I haven't seen anything reinventing the wheel, but it's more, if you're designing a product, just make sure you know that you've got a customer base that wants to buy it.
Do you feel like social media, like me personally, working in the barbering industry, I'm someone that I had a genuine love for barbering from when I was young.
Yeah.
And what I found is since obviously social media and people seeing that barbers, how, not necessarily the lifestyle you get to live, but the people you get to meet, more and more people have flooded the industry with both good intentions and bad intentions.
Yeah.
Like me, I wanted to be good at cutting hair.
Yeah.
But people now, they kind of just want to be famous or they want to meet famous people, So I would assume that's something that's similar has happened to fashion, hence why we're seeing so many people like trying to be into the fashion, but more so like the print side. How, like, what's your take on that when you're seeing everyone sort of, there's a brand, let's be honest, there's a brand at every corner of the road at the moment. Whereas really, their intentions might not be the same as an actual passion.
Yeah. No, you are right. I mean, I guess that's kind of why I self-title myself as a fashion director, because of my specialism in fashion business as well as design. And I guess when I speak to people about what I do, I tell them that I've got a factory first.
Yeah.
Because that separates me from the 99% of the startup brands out there. So.
Like, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, the influence social media is having on the fashion industry? Obviously, more so. Obviously, when I talk about this, I'm talking more so to the bottom end of the fashion industry.
I'd say it has to be a good thing. What I see a lot of is brands that will try the idea for a season or two, and then they might decide that it's not for them. And I think only them can make that decision to try it and fail than not try it at all. So I think, definitely a good thing that people have the willingness and there's that the resources to try being in the fashion industry, because that way it's not seen as an industry that's for the elite or just kind of really sectioned off. I guess we live in a time where everything should be accessible to everyone, and time is the determining factor whether or not it's for you or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to your brand, when it comes to how you want people to feel, what's the intent? How do you want people to feel? Yeah, how do you want people to feel when they're wearing your brand?
Well, the kind of key values of the brand is elegant, vivid, and confident. Which is the initials of my brand, Emile, Vidal, Carr. Because of the kind of pieces that I design, you have to be not an attention seeker, but you have to be comfortable with people looking at you, because it is a unique piece. That comes in your posture, the way you do your hair, your makeup. I guess confidence definitely is a primary one. I think having made stuff for myself, I'm not the most talkative of individuals, but I can step in a room and like someone will say, oh, where do you get that from? And they'll feel the fabric, which I normally don't kind of, it's not that I don't like it, but I'm a very kind of insulated person. But they're investigating, they're seeing what it's about. And then I'll say, I made it. And then the conversation starts from there. And it's a conversation that I'm comfortable carrying. But I'm not someone that, some guys can just chirp any kind of woman. But like, I've never been that kind of person. Like, I'd rather a woman kind of, even my wife, the way we met is that she complimented my shoes in a club one time. And I remember thinking, like, this woman is beautiful, but way out of my league. She complimented my shoes, and the conversation started after from there. But I never would have had the guts to go up to her and start a conversation. I'm just not the kind of person.
That's crazy to look back at how your passion in fashion has molded your life. So now that you're married with kids, that's phenomenal, isn't it? How you express yourself has changed your life. With regards to the industry, has anything surprised you? Anything you weren't expecting in terms of like difficulty or maybe even ease? Because I can't imagine this is the industry. By the sounds of what I can pick up from you, I can't imagine it's something you just went into blindly. I imagine you're quite a strategic person.
The funny thing is, I went into it blindly, but I was able to be consistent.
Okay.
Was there anything that was difficult, you said, yeah?
Yeah, that surprised you within the industry, like whether or not it be a negative or a positive?
I guess there's the importance of knowing business in our industry, because obviously to make a living you need to know what your expenses are and then know what your income is. And I guess that for me took a long time to master. Well, I think for the first maybe 2 years, my sister bankrolled me because I just wasn't making enough money.
Yeah.
And then after we got the contract from Topshop, and I was used to dealing with large amounts of money, through trial and error and whatnot, I was able to understand that I need to live within my means, and then sometimes design using like a costing sheet. So there's lots of incredible designers out there, but if you ask them how much did it cost to make this product, and how much are you going to sell it for, a lot of them don't know the fundamentals of that.
Yeah.
And it comes as a gift and a curse, because on one hand you want to design and be carefree, but then if you want to make a living out of it, you have to always have business at the back of your head. And it's always difficult being creative and thinking business-wise, but it just has to be done. So I think that was a bit of a shock to me.
So the business aspect was more of like a learn on site kind of thing, or via experience, or did you ever do something studying-wise?
I have this guy who owns a chain of salons in London, Haute Couture, and that was what I did 2 years doing my degree that I mentioned earlier. And Calvin is he's a really kind of solid businessman. I've seen his interactions with people, and they may not necessarily like the way he does business,
Yeah.
but he does it well. And I think if you look at anybody that does business well, you'll find people that don't like them.
Yeah, true.
But there are kind of business, you have to make unpopular decisions. And once I got comfortable with making unpopular decisions, things went better for me.
Okay. Yeah, that whole get comfortable with being uncomfortable
Yeah.
part of it.
That's an area where you're growing when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Get laid back and start relaxing way too much.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing this kind of video from, I think like Vidal was getting interviewed, and he said that like a contract can be like, I don't know, X millions, but if it's 1 million out, he'll walk away from it. And I'm the same.
Okay. Why?
Like,
What's
because you put value on your work.
Okay. As in, like, say for instance, your asking price was this, is 1 million less. Okay.
You put value on your work, and what happens is if you accept the lower price, then word gets around that you accept the lower price. But then if it goes wrong, you think this wasn't worth the money in the first place.
Yeah. And there's also that element of almost disrespect that you come
little
in
bit,
under. Okay. Cool. No,
So I'd rather just not do the work, and then it's not about being broke, but I'd rather do one job and be paid the right money and do it well than be underpaid and do, I don't know, 3 jobs or 5 jobs for the value of that one job. So,
I guess it's quality and not the quantity.
yeah, I guess you have to be confident in your kind of skill set as well.
Yeah.
So,
is that something you ever made the mistake of doing, undervaluing your work?
yeah, loads of times. Loads of times. I mean, when I first started making dresses, I was charging like £50, and then when I transitioned to selling dresses for £400, I had to delete all the numbers in my phone.
Okay.
And there's been countless times where I feel like I've undercharged for work. And even the other day, I said to a customer, I can't take on your work because I realised I've undercharged. I didn't say that to them, but that's what happened in the back end. and I had to turn it away.
Okay,
So,
that's good.
And it might sound crazy because like the ones that you might undercharge and do like favors for are the ones that probably wouldn't appreciate your work.
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. With regards to being a black man in the industry, a straight black man, at
Yeah.
that, you're part of a select few. Has that presented any challenges in itself?
Well, I think the straight part, as I mentioned earlier, is a slight disadvantage when you design a women's wear. And the kind of women's wear that I'm designing, it is very feminine. It has to speak to women.
Yeah.
So that I think I'll probably make that look easier than it is, but it's incredibly hard to design something form-fitting for a woman. The race side, I wouldn't say that it's ever really affected me knowingly. And it's just because like the way my mindset is geared is that there's always going to be an issue with why someone doesn't like you or you don't get an opportunity or whatever.
Yeah, true.
And my wife is very different in this respect. She picks up on those kind of things very early. Whereas if I do pick up on it, I won't dwell on it. I'll be like, oh, okay, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's been any kind of determining factor that's affecting my progress in this business anyway.
Okay.
I think I've had people that just straight don't like me, which is fine.
Everyone can't.
I remember I was interviewing for Star a few years ago, and a lady came for an interview, and she walked in, she looked at me and walked out. And then my wife, she had her own reasons why she felt that was, but I just thought maybe because she didn't want to work for a young person.
I think, yeah, maybe
So,
you've been a bit kind there.
Yeah, it could have been
but
many
obviously
things.
it hasn't done you wrong. Yeah. Okay. So I read on your website the Jay-Z thing. That stood out to me a lot. So I've got two questions with regards to that. Was it like a Jay-Z? So what I'm referring to, is he's saying that Jay-Z doesn't write his lyrics down. He kind of just does it off the top.
Yeah.
Whereas it's something he's carried over into fashion.
Yeah.
So what that led me to wonder is, one, was that like a light bulb moment? And two, is there anything else that you've managed to bring over into the fashion side that isn't the conventional?
I think because like I've done this for so long, and I'm an overthinker. So also I'm quiet as well. So certain times at home, I was really lost in my thoughts, and I'm thinking about the clothes and how things are going to be made and how I could have done something better.
Yeah.
So that when I do get on the machine, it's just execution.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always come out right the first time. Because I found that then when I do draw, there's a limit. Because I'm trying to create what was on the paper, not what my imagination is telling me where to go, and I might make a mistake and that turns out to be a good thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it's my way of encouraging other designers to work in that way. And I'm a big hip hop fan, so even like I don't think Biggie wrote his rhymes either.
No?
So
I heard something like that with Lil Wayne as well, to the point that you can recite his lyrics to him now, and you're like, oh, I wrote that? Like,
so having that level of kind of like brilliance in your work, like it just should be celebrated. So it was something that I kind of heard in a YouTube video, and I realized this is what I do, but in a fashion sense. And because of like, I guess the viewers can't see the machines that we have here.
Yeah.
Every machine that we have here, I can use. Like whenever I hire someone, it's something that I can do your job.
Yeah.
The reason why is because I'm trying to expand this business. That's
Yeah.
why I'm hiring you in that sense. So it just goes back to that goal of being technically brilliant at what you're doing and not being superficially brilliant.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I'd imagine, like, with regards to thinking off the top, it kind of eliminates the whole, like, we're products of our environment and
Yeah.
almost like society, and teaches us to think a certain way. So it kind of eliminates that and literally
Yeah.
just stick to the raw creativity that is unique to you. Do you get what I mean?
It's kind of like you're a barber, like, you've done it for a while, so like there's certain things you don't need to think about. You'll just you'll just go in your own direction, and obviously it's people's hair, but it's also art. So how it comes out is how it comes out.
Someone could ask for the same thing from us to get different things.
Yeah. So I think it's like with anything creative, is once you've done it for so long, you don't need to think about it too much, or well, in the execution doesn't take you too long, but then you've, through your muscle memory and then like your thinking and your love for what you're doing, you execute it as you see fit.
It just happens naturally.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that overthinking works in your favour, or do you ever find yourself, you're like, no, I'm doing too much, I'm doing too much?
I think in my personal life, it's a negative, but work-wise, it's a positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how closely interlinked is your career and your personal life, would you say? Obviously, you've got the wife aspect, so that's incredibly personal.
I guess they're one and the same, really. Yeah, I guess they're one and the same. Yeah.
So you live and breathe fashion every day, basically.
Yeah.
If you had to pinpoint one point in your career as an all-time high, what are you saying?
There would be two. It would be have my first child and get married. Because the woman I'm married to, she understands my line of work. If it wasn't for me being married to her, I don't think this would be the level it is.
I think that's incredible. I think that's incredible.
Because like she has brought me to a level I can't even comprehend. And then obviously having my first, having both of them.
See, I never thought of that aspect of being in fashion, like meeting women, and obviously, let's be honest, the majority of us are jealous people.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how much of a headache that could cause.
The thing is, like, I've always had to maintain like professionalism.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's so easy to get a label that you're a sleaze. I do fittings with women. They come for consultations. That you just have to be very clear in terms of what you're saying. No innuendos. I have cameras here so that just to protect myself.
Yeah.
And to protect them as well.
Yeah.
Because my idea of the worst nightmare would be to someone to say that I've kind of acted improper to them in any way.
Yeah, of course.
And people that know me,
yeah.
And that stuff you don't shake off.
Yeah.
Like it's really difficult.
It's a word that sticks.
So I guess I'm just aware and responsible of my surroundings, just to protect my reputation.
Yeah. What about with regards to, because obviously you're working so closely with women, how do you, obviously prior to your wife, well, maybe not touching that, but do you, like, a guy meeting a girl that works with guys quite closely is, like, straight away your field is a little bit harder to find the one, do you get what I mean? So that's probably makes you and your partner so extra special, but did that play a big part in meeting your partner?
No, funny enough, no, I didn't. I mean, it's ironic because her mum used to work at French Connection in their kind of making department. So with that, she grew up knowing the business through her mum. Sade did checks on me when we first met.
What would you call it?
She asked her friends
CV.
like, about me.
What do you call it?
Background check.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. And a few of her friends had been my customers.
Okay, wicked.
So naturally, they had good things to say about me.
Yeah.
And then funny enough, I met her sister, God, like 3 years, or maybe 4 years into doing fashion, because her sister came to me for advice. And I told her not to do a fashion degree because it was a waste of time.
Not do a what? Sorry?
Not to do a fashion degree,
Okay.
because
wow.
mine was a waste of time.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a waste of money, waste of time. Do something academic or do a short course fashion related qualification.
Okay.
And when I met Chloe, it was professional, and then I'd forgotten that I knew her. And then when I met Sade, I think I was sending her flowers and I asked her for her address or something like that. And I'd had Chloe's address in my phone book.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, is this your address?
Yeah.
And she was freaked out.
Oh no, who forgot?
Yeah. And then at Sewn's like, oh, well, I met your sister years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And even with that, like, obviously nothing happened with myself and Chloe. It was a purely professional relationship, but things happen like in your life that lead you to certain things, and yeah, so a lot of things happened in my life that led me to Sade.
amazing. And
Yeah.
I like the idea that you can now see your work out there, and like that's something that will live on forever. Like your admiration for your partner is in your designs.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing.
So, so you probably made like thousands of pieces.
Yeah.
Do you have any piece which is your favorite? They could say, what's that piece? And you could say, yeah, that is definitely a masterpiece.
Favorite.
Or do you just love
It's,
them
it's,
all?
you know, it's probably one of the first ones I made, actually, that jean suit, because I'd say of all the pieces that I've done, that's the most fun I had making a garment. I think after that, it just, everything becomes skewed because you're trying to make money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, now you make your one-of-ones, your own clothing.
Yeah.
Is there any brands that you're working with at the moment, or not really?
Not brand as such. I mean, we just did for Netflix with the Squid Games. And then in the past, I've done stuff for Adidas and Sportscraft, and that was for the Australian Olympic team uniforms for the 2012 Games.
Wow.
Yeah, so once in a while I'll get quite unique projects. That yeah, those ones kind of are fun because it's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, so what was it like working with Squid Games?
To be honest, it wasn't much different from a normal project. I guess there's a bit more hype around it because of who the client is.
Yeah.
But the real reward comes from seeing it on screen and then knowing that you had a part to play in the creation of those garments and so forth. So.
Yeah, so that's something you don't tend to think about when it comes to fashion. Like TV programs are going to reach out to people. How does something like that come about? Like you going from the more conventional avenue of fashion to TV programs approaching you?
Well, because we've got the factory, I guess I know a lot of people in the industry who gets around. We were meant to do some stuff for Apprentice, but then that fell through. So these things happen. Like the opportunities aren't the issue. It's just whether or not it pans out. And because with TV, everything's last minute.
Yeah.
So
how big would you say word of mouth is in this industry? Because in barbering, it's like, for me personally, I think word of mouth is the biggest part of it.
And sometimes your work speaks for itself as well. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's shared now between social media and word of mouth.
Okay.
With the kind of anybody that's been in this business for over 10, 15 years, then it will function on word of mouth. I find that the more secure contracts come from word of mouth, the more so-so contracts come from
More
social media.
inquiries, yeah.
Yeah.
Is social media something that came natural to you? With me personally, yeah.
No, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I'm still kind of getting used to it. I think we've only just found our stride with social media, because I have actually that helps me out massively with that. And then we put a lot into advertising.
Via social media.
Yeah. Instagram in particular. I really love LinkedIn because it's free, and then you get that organic reach that you used to with Instagram. I don't know what's happening like recently.
Yeah, it's changed. It's different. It used to be so easy to build on Instagram. Now it's like you're a drop in the ocean.
Yeah. And then we focus on YouTube quite a bit as well.
Before we touch on what 2023. 2023 was I thought I skipped a year there. Yeah, before we touch on what 2023 has in order, I see the award behind you. I wanted to know a little bit more about that and have a look at it.
Okay, yeah, cool. So one of them is kind of like a runner-up award actually, which was DHL and British Fashion Council. We were down to the last 4 designers in the country to get an award. And the reason why we didn't win it was because our pitch didn't do enough about sustainability.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a nice day out. It's nice to be asked, and I got a picture with Caroline Rush, who's the CFO, CEO of British Fashion Council. And then this one is the African Fashion Awards. I think I got this 2 years ago for outstanding achievement within the fashion industry. So yeah, this one came out of the blue.
Okay.
It was really nice to be appreciated. I don't do things for awards. I just do things for me, and then if someone likes it, that's a bonus.
So we're just receiving something like this, obviously Africa Fashion Awards. What does something like that do to you as a person?
I guess it just reminds me that people are watching, and people do appreciate what I'm doing. It's always been about building a legacy within the fashion industry, and just seeing where it will take me. I guess I'm known as an expert, which is nice to be seen as. And yeah, I think I'd like to focus more on helping the younger generation to get an understanding of the business, and if they can see an immigrant that has been in this for 20 years make some waves, and if that helps one person, then I've done my job.
Sounds brilliant. I've got one more question before I touch on the 2023 thing. As my friend, with regards to him in the fashion, he's the one that asked about sustainable fashion.
Okay.
He said to ask you, the question he actually asked was, have you been working on sustainable fashion? The reason I hadn't asked it before now, obviously you mentioned it, I have no idea what sustainable fashion is.
The thing is, sustainable fashion is a bit of a buzz term that I actually don't like, because there's a lot of companies doing it that I think the term's called greenwashing, where they're saying they're doing it, but they're not really.
Okay. What is it meant to be?
Well, it's meant to be producing your products in a way that is environmentally friendly. So that's what the whole manufacturing in the UK is about. The product has got a low carbon footprint.
Yeah.
Or you're using fabrics that have been recycled. Because real sustainability is just not no one buying anything anymore. That's how you save the world, really and truly. But it's not good business.
Yeah.
But so if you are making stuff, you use dyes that haven't been, vegan dyes. Stella McCartney, she's making handbags out of mushroom leather.
Leather?
Yeah, which is insane. Yeah.
How?
I saw one where one guy was using like bottles to recycle the bottles, and he will shred them and make brooms.
But the thing is, you can make there's fabric made out of reconstituted plastic bags and bottles, so really good quality fabric. So that's what sustainability means.
Yeah.
And
okay.
if the thing is, if you're a brand that hasn't got a sustainable element in your strategy, then it's not good for your PR.
So it's becoming more and more important, I imagine, with obviously vegan and.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that aspect. Okay. 2023, what can we expect? 2023, any goals, anything you want to accomplish? Are you a person that believes in like vision boards and stuff like that? Do you have stuff to aim towards?
2023. There's a couple kind of large-scale businesses that we've approached actually to do a joint venture with. I think right now it's catering more to the side of networking, which has always been my Achilles heel. So getting us on the right women, getting into the right events, that's our key focus for the year, because we want to make sure that people know about, we've spent so long building an infrastructure. So now it's letting people know that why we're here and who we're serving.
Okay. How beneficial would you say it is getting a piece of your work on a celebrity? Because I see maybe not so high as the Kim Kardashians, that kind of thing, but how important and how influential is it to your business, your work being seen on celebrities on the red carpet?
To our business, it's very important. You have to make sure that the terms are clear, because I mean we've had celebrities wear our stuff, and then to this day we haven't got a picture for it. And they've been quite big celebrities.
Is that by fault of your own that you didn't get that down in writing? Or is
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No one else's fault but mine. The thing is, you can get a celebrity wear your stuff and nothing happens. And I think if that happens, it's because it was a wrong celebrity.
Okay.
And then there's times where you can have a celebrity that on like a madness, and then it's known that they're endorsing your product. And if they're on the downturn, then your brand gets dragged along for the ride. But if they're on the kind of uprising, then yeah, it works out for your brand. So timing is key as well.
Sounds like a tightrope industry. Yeah, scary. Go too far left, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay. Goodness me. All right, exciting. That's what to touch on. All right, well, thank you very much for your time. Being very insightful conversation.
I feel like I've been educated about the industry. I can jump on this now.
I'm going to watch a lot more intensely, but genuinely, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
And good luck for 2023
and all the years to come.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.
Just keep winning.
Yeah, trying.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, honestly.
I might even hit you up for a piece soon.
Yeah, why not?